We should be
Oh, I see the streaming.
Should be up and running.
Hi, everyone.
There we are. Hey guys, how are you? Happy Monday.
And an early Monday too.
Yes, we're coming at you, as Appa would say on Kim's Convenience, sneak attack.
Exactly. We're gonna get on early on the off chance that people were trying to look for us, and maybe because it's a holiday, if we weren't there, maybe they wouldn't stick around for a minute. So I was like, we better be on time.
Yeah. Say what's up. How's it going?
So it is it is technically a holiday here in America, a federal holiday. We had off from work, or at least like a street cleaning holiday. So I don't think everyone had off, but I think the banks and
not me.
We had off today. So I had a nice relaxing day of doing almost nothing,
good.
Which was great because I had a busy weekend. How about you, Ashley?
Oh no, I worked 5:30 this morning till 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Oh no!
But I came home and I slept for like 3 hours, so that was totally worth it. I'm ready to go, and Ahsoka's here too.
We've got a banger episode tonight, that's for sure.
Yes. Oh my God, we're starting things off in a very big way.
It's the season 4 premiere. It's a Mando heavy episode. It's a Bo-Katan heavy episode. We'll bring her back as we get closer. Oh,
love her.
She's fantastic. Bo-Katan is obviously going to be a big part of the Mandalorian season 3. We saw that from all of the marketing so far. I mean, the Empire article, the Disney social media. So I don't know if she's the main antagonist or like second in command. She certainly feels like the second build person in the show, right?
Yeah, definitely like this season.
Din and then her. Yeah.
Yeah. So not only do you have to have, I think she's going to be Din's guide through Mandalore and what you need to do, but obviously I think that's going to clash with what the armorer has in mind.
Exactly.
So that will be interesting.
It's my dream fight. I'm telling you now, if it doesn't happen, we burn down the studio. Start at the volume.
Forget it. They need it for other things, but yeah.
As a licensee, I shouldn't say such things. But truly, Armorer versus Bo-Katan is like my dream fight. I'm like ready for it. And then the eventual team up. It's sort of the same way I feel about Ahsoka and Barriss Offee. Like we need another reunion of them, or a reunion of them, where they fight and then eventually realize that they've taken very similar paths and have to coordinate together against someone else. I like that sort of storytelling. It's a little bit of a trope, I think, at this point, but I'm into it.
And Bo-Katan started off as an antagonist too in Clone Wars, so it makes sense.
Yeah, she was aligned with Maul. It's like, how are you still alive,
girl?
lady? Yeah. So usually when you align with Maul, you win in the beginning. It's actually a good embodiment of the dark side. I think we could do a whole episode about this. Like, if you align with someone like Darth Maul, you'll get some immediate gratification and make some like early wins. And it's the very temptation of the dark side. But in the end, you lose. Like, no one who sided with Maul won anything in Mandalore. Like, their leader previously was killed. Yeah, Satine was killed, Pre Vizsla was killed, her group splintered into the Watch and to like the Sith, like the Maul loving group, right? Which I still suspect the Armorer, because she has horns on her helmet, might be like an old Darth Maul holdout. Could you imagine? That would be a source of tension. Be like, oh yeah, I aligned with Maul. Maybe she was in the room at the same time as Bo-Katan. Who knows? That could be really.
Oh my God! Yeah, that'd be.
This is the stuff I think about instead of doing things that are productive with my life. So,
like, forget sleeping. Like, this is why I lie awake thinking about it at night.
Someone, you pull that thread, and then all of a sudden, you're into like deep fan fiction at that point. So
I know. Except for that, all the creepazoid stuff, but yeah.
Exactly. We still keep it PG over here. Although, does the Armorer have a boyfriend or partner or a lineage? That's always a question. What is her real relationship with like Heavy Mando? And of course, like whenever you see any male and female characters on screen, immediately people go to like, is there a romantic connection? Like, or are they like blood relatives? And it's like, they could just be friends and coworkers, the way most men and women exist in the planet.
It would blow my mind if Heavy Mando. If Heavy Mando was just kind of like a mountain looking guy underneath all that armor, like the mountain from Game of Thrones, where like some kind of like Mandalorian cult magic brought him back from the dead or something. And
Oh,
he's all
geez.
like a
I didn't even think
zombie.
of that.
Like I
We
had a
could get
nightmare about that like about a year ago, and it's just like stuck in my head ever since.
we
So
could get Tate Fletcher into some interesting makeup
yeah,
and body paint and stuff. He's a like crazy stunt dude, so I'm
yeah,
sure he could do it. I'm sure he's been
it'd be
in
wild.
weird stuff like that.
Yeah, like
I
Thor
am curious.
Bjornsson definitely like signed up for all that makeup as the Mountain.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, could
Um,
happen.
I think that Emily Swallow as the arm. I would love for it to just be her, right? Like you take off the helmet and it's Emily.
Yeah,
I don't know what that character is going to look like. You know, Emily's been the voice and of course is the body when it's not full stunt. You know, there's also a stunt person who I believe is sometimes
Lauren. Yeah,
Lauren Mary Kim. There's sometimes someone else. Like, but she's in it. She's in the costume too, but like she's obviously the voice. She's the James Earl Jones. You know,
yeah,
in theory, you could take the helmet off and it could be kind of anyone. I hope it's her. I hope we do get to see her face. I hope that's like a whole thing because we want to see the armorer lose her
yeah,
helmet, I think, just as a storyline. But also I think Emily is so fantastic. I kind of want to see her face on screen.
yeah. And
Um,
she's devoted so much to the character; it'd kind of be a crime if it wasn't her.
yeah.
So yeah. I don't think they'll do it dirty like that. I really hope they don't
No.
do it dirty like that. But yeah,
No, I don't
be
think so at
amazing.
all. I am, this is not our predictions episode, by the way, for Mando season 3. We are just, you know, about a week out. So at this point, I think
I can't
the,
believe how fast this month of February is like flown
no,
by. Like
yeah,
January was like eternal. Like I really felt like we just slogged through for like it was a million weeks instead of just 4.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
now we're just like, wow, here it's the 20th already.
Yeah, the month is flying. And we're coming up on huge Star Wars news, huge Star Wars events, the return of the
Yes.
Mandalorian.
More guests announced
Yeah,
today.
yes, we have to get into that as more
Yes.
people join. I know we've got a few people watching already. I saw Bryce jump in and say hello.
Yeah, hi
Um,
Bryce.
Hey, we are, and Joe is watching as well. We are going to have a really fun watch along tonight with Heroes of Mandalore. Like this is the
Yeah.
season 4 premiere.
Premiere,
Um,
yeah.
it is a big Bo-Katan episode. It's a big cast actually. Sharmila Devar is here as Ursa Wren, Ritesh
Yeah.
Rajan as Tristan Wren. It's a lot of Wrens. We meet the dad, who is he's new. He's introduced in this episode, although they talk about him before. Ulrich Wren, played by Kari Tagawa.
So he was in Mortal Kombat
Yes.
as I cannot think of the character's name. Why am I blanking? But I've met him at a Comic-Con. He's awesome, and I totally forgot he's in Rebels, and you should have got him to sign the poster.
This is what happens, right? Because people
Yeah.
come up in like a couple of episodes, and you know, I was looking at the cast list again recently, and I was like, wow, there's still plenty of people I actually have to meet outside of like a work environment or wherever else. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to try
Yeah.
to squeeze in as many people as possible on this damn poster. That's going to be, I think, my 2023, 2024 thing, as well as trying to find some people to guest on the show. I think that's something that I want
Yeah.
to make a priority for like the rest of the year. We've done a
Yeah.
lot of our watch-alongs and engaging with the viewers on like lists and deep dive discussions. I'd love to interview some people. So we're
Yeah.
working on that. That's one of our plans for 23.
We're making some magic happen.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully something to announce soon. I see
yeah.
some people joining. We got Jen and Jeff and Sherry.
Hi guys.
Oh, listen
Welcome,
at the
welcome.
gym. Good job, Bryce. I worked out earlier today. I'm trying. It's by February. I'm like, did I give up again already? Yes, but I'm gonna hang in.
No, as any amount of work helps. Like as my sister said,
Yeah.
as long as you're moving, you're doing something. So
I just needed to, get a little bit of motion in.
Right.
Let's talk about our weekends real quick because I know you
Yeah.
saw Ant-Man, and I want to start with that before we get into the episode. Tell everyone what you thought of Ant-Man.
Now I love the Ant-Man movies. Like I know they're like considered goofy, and you know, can Ant-Man really be a superhero? But you know,
That's the whole
Endgame proved
purpose.
that he can.
Yeah.
And I saw it twice, like once in 3D on
Oh.
Thursday night, on Saturday, and then regular on Thursday night, and I absolutely loved it. Like, forget what the critics say. Like, it's straight out of the comic books. It's weird.
Very
You're in the
comic booky.
quantum well.
Yeah.
You got David Dastmalchian. Instead of playing Kurt in this one, he's back as Veb, And
It's a weird character.
he's a weird character, but he's so cute. And I'm like, if they made a Veb plushie, I would be so happy.
It's
Or even
crazy
if it was
that the
like a
talking
stress ball.
broccoli isn't even the weirdest character, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's very
As
comic
Michael,
booky.
as Hank Pym said, holy shit, that guy looks like broccoli.
Yeah.
Like that was one of my favorite lines. Yeah, just absolutely weird. Jonathan Majors is Major. Like so phenomenal as Kang. Not going to get too into spoilers, but there are
I thought he carried the film.
Yeah, he did. 2 end credit scenes setting up the rest of Phase 5. So definitely don't leave your seats if you haven't. As you should know by now, don't move during a Marvel movie when the lights go up.
I also thought, sometimes those credit scenes are okay. Sometimes they're really great. And sometimes they're really short. And it's like, I stayed for that. I thought both end credit scenes were really worth the time. And set up really interesting things. I won't give anything away, but one tells you a little bit more about Kang and one connects to Loki. So I think that alone, knowing that like all Marvel movies now, they're a brick in a wall of some type. Like they're always building something bigger than itself, which I actually think is actually one of the main criticisms that people have about the MCU in general is that like you can't just jump in and enjoy something on its own because it's a piece of a larger thing. I actually think this movie does stand alone. And while it is a piece of a larger thing and you can see the breadcrumbs where it's leading and everything, if you didn't even see the first 2 Ant-Man movies, you kind of don't have to. They do a good amount of like recap in there and just jumping right in. And the action adventure. That's a thing. Like I love Paul Rudd. I find him like super compelling and charismatic. You can kind of watch him do anything.
He's adorable.
And I think it's actually how like some of the Ant-Man movies have sort of been able to be successful while not having the same major threats. Like Ghost is not a super big threat. The lead villain in the first Ant-Man movie, what's his name?
Darren Cross,
the Hornet looking guy, right? Like
Yellow
Jacket, super big threat, right? Yellow Jacket. See, I can't even remember his name.
My uncle watches those movies every single day, so
no, I get it.
Yeah.
I think there are better villains across the other heroes movies.
Yeah.
But Kang is a big one and is more of like an Avengers level threat, and Ant-Man and the crew take him on effectively. I will say I think this is Michelle Pfeiffer's best MCU appearance, as well as one of the best things she's done in the last 10 years. And she's amazing, by the way. I love Michelle Pfeiffer, but like she actually kind of carries this movie the more I think about it. It's her and Jonathan Majors. Like Ant-Man is great and Paul Rudd is great, but like the two of them, you could run the movie.
Yeah, exactly. It's her story. It's her telling them what happened in the quantum realm and kind of like, I don't want to say going back to the hometown kind of feel about it. Like everybody knows her. She knows the methods of the weirdness and what to do. Catherine Newton coming in for
good.
Abby Ryder Fortson. Abby is an amazing actress. She did a phenomenal job as young Cassie. But they needed to age her up, and Catherine Newton kind of brings that same closeness with Scott and Cassie's relationship that Abby had when she was younger. So if they had to age her up, they did it in the right direction. So,
and you wouldn't know that it's a recast. I mean, kids get recasted all the time based on time jumps and looks and like talents. Like we need this girl to be like a stunt performer. She's got to eventually like fight. And actually her learning how to fight with Scott was really cute. I thought that was one of the things that worked really well. The jump and tap or whatever.
Jump
tap. That was very cute. I also love that she is inherently like a social justice warrior. She understands that there's like a homelessness problem in San Francisco, which I do enjoy though, that they like attribute it to the blip. But like, hello, that shit's real. It's happening today in real life San Francisco and every major market across the planet. But still, like they tackled it. And when she shrunk the cop car, I was like, yep. I was all in. I was like, she's my new favorite Avenger. It's her and young Hawkeye. The two of them together
Kate Bishop,
are gonna Kate Bishop and her. I talked about recently that I would follow from The Last of Us. I want to, I'm gonna follow her. I'm also gonna follow
Bella.
these girls.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, I'm in. So I thought the two of them, I thought she was great, and I think the two of them would make for a really compelling movie down the road when we eventually get to Young Avengers. So
definitely.
Very cool. Oh, and by the way, we have to shout out Katie O'Brien.
Yes. Oh my God. When she showed up, I I think Spencer had mentioned that she might be in it,
Mhm.
and I just completely zoned that out. But when I saw her, I'm like, we hung out with her at Rhode Island
sure
like
did.
a few months ago.
I know her agent a little bit. So at Rhode Island
Oh.
Comic-Con, we got to spend a little bit of time with her. She was super nice. She was also
Really
very
nice.
humble. She mentioned doing something with Ant-Man and didn't get too deep into it. And her
Yeah.
agent was like, no, she's like really in it. Like she's in it. And I'm thinking like, oh, I bet she has a couple of minutes. That's so exciting for her because like her character on Mandalorian is still not really named or like not like an admiral like level threat yet, but I feel like it's
Yeah.
headed that way. And I was
Yeah.
like, yes, like we see things
She's
moving
not
up for
dead.
Katie. This is awesome. And then you see her in the movie. And by the way, we're not going to spoil anything from the movie, you guys. So don't be concerned. Katie was in a lot of the movie in Ant-Man and was terrific.
As Cassie said, she's a badass.
Oh my God,
So
Cassie was fangirling on her. I was like, yes, me too. I was like, I love this lady. So
you are all of us. Oh my gosh.
exactly. We were all just like, I was like, my plan was getting you to make the plan, basically. And I was like, yeah, same girl. I'm following her. So yeah, she was a Queen Gentura is her name. And
yes.
she is the queen. So shout out to Katie. Bringing it back to Mando. So I expect we'll see her in season 3 coming back.
Yeah, I hope so. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
And Disney doesn't waste people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if they cast her for a reason, and then she had a big role in Ant-Man. She's come back. She's come back for Mando season 3. Like
love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, I'm remaining hopeful. And we don't, like I said, you were saying we don't even know that much about her. We just know she's Moff Gideon's Imperial officer. So we'll see what happens.
He talks to her like an equal, which is concerning because that means she's scary. And so will she fight the armorer or Bo-Katan? There's another fight we got to see because if she fights anyway like she does as Queen Gentura in the quantum realm, she will wipe the floor with them, which is horrifying to think. So yeah.
Yes.
All right, I've noticed a lot of people have joined us as we're going deep into Ant-Man. Let's bring it back to Mando and Rebels. But it is all part of the Disneyverse, right? We had a great weekend. We hope you guys had a nice long weekend if you had the day off. And Ashley saw Ant-Man twice. I went on Friday night. We thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yay.
I think the next thing up on the MCU is Guardians and then the Marvels, which they just released the poster. Delayed,
November, that got pushed too. And I was looking forward to that one, but I feel like they needed something to compete with Dune. So it's the week before Dune comes out or it's scheduled to come out. So either way, I'll be seeing both of them like day one.
I'm going more practical. I think that they just need more time to run the effects. Like I think that everything is taking longer than expected on all fronts. And I think as they rejigger the slate for 24, how things have to connect. Do they have to add more special effects, put in more scenes, move things around? It's always a puzzle. It's a puzzle board based on what's coming out. And I think they're going to look at like how people reacted to Ant-Man and figure out like what does Kang Dynasty and everything else look like.
Absolutely.
They do react to the fan stuff as we've seen in the past. So
it was kind of obviously like the audience score to me matters more than the critic score because there are very few critics I honestly care about their opinions with, and those
especially on genre films.
Yeah, and everybody's like, oh, superhero fatigue and Star Wars fatigue, and I'm like, where? Like, this is what I've wanted my whole life. I'm going to go.
They were telling us that we had too many superhero movies when Spider-Man 3 came out, and that was 15 years ago.
Seriously.
So I'm in the case where like I do understand there's actually too much content in general, and I actually complain about that regularly. And I'm glad that things are slowing and pushing out. Because right now, what am I watching? We're watching The Last of Us. I'm watching Poker Face. I'm watching
I have to check that out.
Drag Race. And I'm watching The Bad Batch. That's it. And then when Mando starts, I'll watch Mando. But like I literally can't keep up with more shows than that. And I'm a content wraparound person. So I'm also watching a lot of stuff on YouTube and all of the new rock stars and all their stuff like Screen Crush and whatnot.
And I'm watching Hunters season 2. I'm watching How I Met Your Father. I'm watching Bad Batch. I'm watching The Last of Us. It's a lot, and I'm ready for Mando. I'm ready to see what's next in that universe and where it's going to go from here. And the possibilities are exciting.
Yeah,
so
I think
I don't think we can get burnt out on it.
Gigantic.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's going to blow the doors open. Like
without a doubt.
kind of like how I think Filoni treats it as he did with Rebels, and it was kind of evident in Avatar. Like they build the kid stuff, they build the introductions to the characters, the backgrounds. They give it a problem in season 2. Season 3 blows the doors off of everything, and you think all hope is gone, and then the resolution is coming. So it's going to be like that.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to follow that similar structure.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to shut down like the Mandalorian, either the show or the universe or whatever. I feel like
definitely
season
not.
3 is not a series finale season, although season 2 really felt like it, right? I remember when that happened, I was like, is it over? As a licensee, I was very concerned. As a fan, I was concerned, but as a licensee, I was like deeply concerned. And I was like, no, they're not going to abandon like the biggest moneymaker with Grogu and everything else that the company's probably seen in a while. Yeah. And it certainly is something that will drive subscriptions. I assume that if they're looking to increase subscriptions, it will pop on March 1st for Mando. We are 9 days out, and I already know people who are going to re-up their Disney Plus on March 1st. I was like, what do you mean you let it lapse? And they're like, oh, we were part of the founders circle. And then once that expired, we just never re-upped. You know how hard it is to like re-sign for something? So you have to go back and get those people.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think I had the 3 years for the price of 2.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, we had signed up for that, and then it had lapsed, so we had to re-up for that. But I'm just excited. I want to see what they do from here. I'm looking forward to another like gallery, because I love the making of process. Which, by the way, the Wakanda Forever assembled, I bawled through. Like, why am I sitting here crying at a making of? I never thought it was possible, but that was definitely something.
Wakanda Forever is definitely going to be that thing that you go back to. Like, it just hurts. But that stupid line from Nicole Kidman, heartbreak feels good in a place like this. It was so true watching that movie. I was like, yep, like this is where I need to be.
Yeah.
That's one I'm going to remember being in the theater for. I mean, there are a few moments, like I think we all talk about Captain America getting the hammer in Avengers Endgame. Like those moments that really jump out. Like, just the opening credits from like the Marvel logo for Wakanda Forever. I was like, oh no, what did I do? Like you could feel it. And it was just heartbreaking. Like the first 30 seconds of the film. It's so good. And now it's on Disney Plus. So if you want to cry at home,
you don't even have to leave your house.
You're at home. Yeah, exactly. Done and done.
Get your tissues. Yeah. Bryce says that we will get a season 4. It's already written according to Jon Favreau. So
I feel like that's been confirmed.
It's
I don't, you know me, I don't deal in rumors, but I do think that there's going to be a continuation of the Mandoverse in some way, especially with Ahsoka. Although I did just see a rumor today that show is not coming out until the fall, because maybe Rosario said something like that. But I don't know. We will find out in about a month and a half at Celebration. I thought it was going to be a July-August situation, but I don't know. Mando's going to run through, what's the math on that? May? Like, right?
Yeah.
May? So there
just
would be
in time
nothing
for
on
like Star Wars Day. Yeah.
There would be nothing on air Star Wars and for a while, but there will be Marvel programming. And I think they've now figured out that they need to stagger things. Like you can't overlap this stuff. Like it eats each other. So
no, it doesn't.
It does.
I'll stay up
though.
Until 4 a.m. to watch
but
it.
But not everyone will. And I think that's the problem. They're struggling with casual viewers, right?
I can't
keep up, but I'm trying.
She-Hulk season 2. She's like, when is She-Hulk coming back? I'm waiting for that. And I'm like, I don't know.
I hope they do a She-Hulk season 2. That was my favorite show they've done since WandaVision. Like,
seriously, it's so much fun. And they just dropped the, as I like to call it, the ketchup and mustard Daredevil Hot Toys figure with the Matt Murdock head sculpt, and it looks so good. And I'm like, oh man, I have to add this to my list.
Yeah, I bought something small Rebels related on eBay because I was looking for something. Well, once it arrives, I will show everyone. But I need. I'm short on merch. In fact, as I was pulling stuff for this, I was like, "This is my Bo-Katan. That's the one." I thought I had more Bo-Katan stuff. And so I got my little bobblehead Funko. She's beautiful, but I realized that I'm missing some things from like the broader collection. So I needed to get something. But yes, when it arrives, I'll share with the group. As a reminder, we did get our jerseys last week or the week before. So
look at this.
The virtual Cantina. Oh my God, I picked red as my color that disappears from my virtual background. But yeah, like it looks really good. So the next time we do a jersey run, I highly recommend everyone getting in on that. It's actually been great because it messed up all my color. I'm gonna fix that. what next time we do it, this has been super helpful, especially in the cold weather.
Yeah. Oh, hockey jerseys are the best. Like I will wear them with everything. I just put in our little Rebels messenger chat the Bill and Ted hockey jerseys
Those
I've
are
gotten.
pretty sweet.
Oh, I love them. Thank
There
you.
we go. Back to normal.
Yay, he's not
Does that help?
sparkly. But yeah, it's
Perfect.
amazing. Like I'm actually using my Bo-Katan Hot Toys box to like hold up my laptop properly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I have Bo-Katan set up behind my computer on her stand, and it's so cool. Like I love this figure so much. And if you have a little bit of money to burn, I highly recommend getting the Bo-Katan Hot Toys figure. The head sculpt is just pure Katie Sackhoff.
Yeah,
And
she looks really good.
they made her look less mean than the prototype. They gave her a softness to her face, but she's still strong, and I love it.
Yeah. She's tough, and a little bit angry sometimes, which we like. That's the
Oh,
thing. I
yeah.
like a complicated, layered character. I
Yeah.
remember when the discourse moved away from strong female character to interesting or compelling or complicated. It was like a series of words. It was anything, but you don't want them to be one note, because like
No.
the response was like we didn't have enough female characters, and then as you start getting them, they all become the same female character, and so from
Yeah.
there it's like, how do we get to layered and interesting? You know, and it takes time. It's like this building block. I see the same thing with LGBTQ characters. We've got like a couple different archetypes, and you don't get them to be layered and interesting because it's like, okay, we're going to do the representation. Here's your one. It's kind of like with Avengers. It was like, all right, well, Black Widow is the girl one. I was like, she's representing all women right there, but we've got 5 guys who all have different things about them.
Yeah.
So it's tricky. Yeah. It's
I don't know.
all that is moving in the right direction, though, at least.
Yes.
And in fact, this episode of Rebels that we're going to tune in, we're going to start in a couple minutes, guys. We got some girl power in this episode. Some of the most compelling, interesting women in the entire series are like front and center in this episode, with Sabine, with Bo-Katan, with Ursa Wren. Like, I think that the 3 of them could like carry their own show easily.
Yeah, like the Mandalorian ladies are coming to play, like no doubt in this episode, and they have Hera too.
Yeah.
So
she's also in this episode in a small way. Yeah.
Yeah. So
but yeah, she's always there, and she's the best.
Yeah, she's the backbone, but yeah, these ladies are the muscle. So
yeah.
It'll be very exciting to see how they get that across in the Ahsoka show, because as we've seen in some footage, Hera is in it. So
Hera and Sabine and Ahsoka, and assuming a Bo-Katan or someone like that. Oh my
god, that'd be so
cool. I'm still praying to all the gods, whichever one will listen. Barasafi, you know, that's
again, we will hear you screaming, Corky Kryze.
Yeah, Corky Kryze, my boy. Corky Kryze and Barasafi, like those are the wishes to the Star Wars gods. I'm a team of 1 over here fighting for those 2. But yeah, this episode has, like I mentioned, some amazing characters, also some heavy hitter voice actors too. People I didn't mention so far. Kevin McKidd is back as Fen Rao. He's an awesome Mando. We've seen a few of his episodes in our March to the Mandalorian season 3. He's been a big part of it. We also have another Saxon. So this is T-Bar Saxon, not Gar Saxon, with Tobias Menzies. And then Andrew Kashimo as Captain Hark. He's the one who originated the voice of Saw Gerrera in the Clone Wars, and they brought him back for this role. He's since done other stuff as well. He's been all over kind of Star Wars, Andrew Kashimo. So, and is always in my mind when I think Saw Gerrera, like I actually go to him first. Like I think of him because of his Clone Wars time.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's. I didn't watch Clone Wars until after Rebels and obviously after Rogue One. So I will always think Forrest Whitaker. Yeah. So it's interesting how everybody can have that switch of thought process, and I like
whose
that.
voice do you hear in your head when you think of the character? That's really the question. Like, are you Alan McGinnis, or I know you as Ewan McGregor, or are you James Earl Taylor, which is very close to Ewan McGregor? I hear Ewan. Like Ewan is when I think Obi-Wan, I hear Ewan. When I hear Yoda, I hear Tom Kane. Like, I know that's, probably not where everyone else goes, but depending on the media you consume within Star Wars, you could have that lead character in your head as to like who is the sort of owner of that character, just based on the voice,
Oh yeah. And Phil Lamar was actually on, I think my mom was watching Castle this afternoon, and he showed up in an episode, and I'm like, hey, that's Phil Lamar. Like,
he's in everything.
Yeah.
That IMDb page is miles long. I mean, he's a great Bail Organa.
Just keep scrolling. Yeah.
Yes. we should jump into the episode because we are coming up on 9:30 and we are going to try to get you guys out of here close to on time. But we have so much more on the agenda, you guys. So let's play the episode and talk over it like we always do. So cue up your Disney Plus.
Get ready to go.
We are in season 4, episode 1.
Okay, we're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. It's that Scout helmet. They're putting out Hasbro's putting out that Scout Trooper helmet, and I want to paint it to look like that so badly.
It'd be very cute. I like a Scout Trooper helmet. The one in Rebels is done really well.
Yeah. And even Ezra's got a jetpack now, so
yeah, he's not great with it, but it's still good. Yeah,
he's comic relief with that jetpack.
Yeah, he helps ground the show back to like, hey, it's a kid show, it's funny. You know, because this episode is like serious as a heart attack. Let me tell you. We get to see Sabine in her element. I would say we really. We're dealing with like a heavy toll on Mandalore. Like this is the war. Like this is the start of like trying to take back Mandalore from the Empire.
See the jetpack problems. Chopper making fun of him.
Constantly annoyed. On the fly.
Get it? On the fly.
I get it, Chopper. So by the way, guys, we are only watching part 1 tonight. Because we do better when we do one episode at a time. Otherwise, we're here till midnight.
We like to talk.
None of us wants that.
Yeah.
And
we love you, but we want to set you free.
We love you, and I don't want to hold you hostage here. Oh my god, Sabine holding the Darksaber like that. It's very like She-Ra, like, you know, and I have the power moment. It's
and
fantastic.
All these Ren Clan Mandalorians popping up.
Yeah, it's tremendous. I just love that. I eventually want to see her wield it again. Whether she becomes Queen of Mandalore, which we talk about all the time, she could be on the podium. I do want her to just swing the thing, like, and hit someone with it in real life.
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to see the new Sabine, our live action Sabine, get a chance to whack someone.
Yeah.
With this thing. Yeah. It's gonna be cool.
Oh.
So yeah, this so we're doing part 1, which does leave on a little bit of a cliffhanger. And we're going to come back for part 2 next week. Part 2 is also going to be watch along for part 2 of Heroes of Mandalore, but also our Mandalorian countdown and preview spectacular, in that we're going to give some of our big theories, and then we're actually going to do a wrap up show of Mando's episode 1 the following week, and do like our season long predictions. Because I do think like we're all going to want to just talk about the Mandalorian, so why distract with anything else? Like let's just it's going to be the only thing we care about in the universe for that first week. So that's my thought anyway.
And how cute was that clip that they've released, like Grogu in the spinny chair and Grief Karga and stealing the M&Ms with the Force. Oh,
so Dave, cute. I think the age group of this fan community, Filmation, like this would be what we grew up on. I think we're the generation that like the 80s are forever in our DNA. So it's very much like He-Man, She-Ra, Thundercats, Rainbow Bright, G.I. Joe. Like everything. We were of the generation that became these cartoons mixed in with toys and all other media and exploded everywhere, right? Like we're the generation that started. It was the thing that we knew growing up, and it was commonplace. It didn't land everywhere. It wasn't successful for every property, but we just knew it. It was new to people who were older than us, but like for us, it's commonplace, right? It's also why we can't let go. Like, why are there still He-Man toys 40 years later, and why am I still buying them?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Why am I still watching all these amazing shows? And no regrets, none whatsoever.
There's a new He-Man show on now.
Oh, so cool.
Good.
So cool.
Sabine's good with the jetpack.
She is. Oh no. Oh no.
Not going well.
Use the Force, Ezra. Use the Force.
Yeah.
Oh, even
Exactly.
better. Some more Mandos. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah,
Here's
there's
our girl.
Bo-Katan. And she's
Land
always got
Creed
some
rescue.
friends.
Yeah.
We could always retcon, Mercedes Renato in some of these shots.
By the way, a friend of mine got to go to her wrestling bout recently in California, and she was so good.
She's amazing. She's among the
Mercedes
best.
Monet is her wrestling name.
Oh, that's
now.
right, Mercedes Monet in the ring.
Yeah.
Yes, Mercedes Renato in real life.
Yes.
She will always be Sasha Banks in my heart because that's how I knew her and loved
Legit
her. But understood
boss.
that, like,
Yeah.
yes. Oh my god, the best. The boss character with the ring, like, and the fight with Bailey. I tell people all the time, if you don't know anything about WWE wrestling, it is a soap opera. It is all scripted.
Yeah.
And it is an amazing combination of athleticism and storytelling. And Bailey and Sasha like put on a clinic.
They really do.
Their feud was incredible, and then they team up. They're best friends in real life, right? So that's how the chemistry works. Which is why I think Bo-Katan and the Armorer are gonna, throw down in a way that like their feud will beat any feud in this that's happened so far, right? Mando versus Gideon, it's gonna be nothing compared to Armorer versus Bo-Katan. Like maybe fighting for the throne of Mandalore. Who knows? Like, because if Bo-Katan has it, the Armorer will try to kill her. Like, I think that's how it'll go.
Yeah.
Like, I could see that. She doesn't want to be Queen of Mandalore, but she doesn't want Bo-Katan to do it. So I think that would be the thing to be the catalyst to push her there.
Now, when she took off this helmet, and if all those people, I guarantee you, all those people that I had seen Bo-Katan on Clone Wars, the change in animation in her face probably was shocking to some people. I know it was to me. Like, I didn't even realize it, but going back and watching Clone Wars later, I was like, wow, she looks a little more human here, but she's so cubist in the Clone Wars. So
the animation styles are really different. This
really
is so much closer to like real live action.
Yeah.
And Clone Wars is so stylized. I mean, look at Count Dooku in Clone Wars, right? He looks insane.
He looks like a tube.
He looks like an alien. But yeah,
Yadi Mundi almost. Yeah. And she denied taking the Darksaber. It's like, oh, you're a ruling body of Mandalore. Here's the Darksaber. And she's like, no.
Yeah, please no. You know why? Because she knows the baggage that it comes with. She's like, I've been down this road before. So we have to see that journey to get it to her. Although they gave that away in the trailer. Someone was talking, like I was just watching a recap that someone else did 5 years ago, which is crazy. And they were like, she's holding it in the trailer. Like there's no tension for that. Which is fair.
So yeah, yesterday ended up being the 5th anniversary of the premiere of Jedi Knight.
Yes.
So like a crazy turning point episode in not just Rebels, but in Star Wars in general.
Yeah.
The death of Kanan Jarrus. Yeah.
Without a doubt, one of the saddest moments in all of Star Wars.
Seriously.
One of the most beautifully shot, well acted, huge turning point in any show to kill off a main character. Like you would think that he's really top billed, right? It's like Freddie, Taylor,
he's Spectre
Vanessa,
1. Yeah.
And he is Spectre 1, which by the way, her should be Spectre 1, but we're not going to have that fight on this channel right now. He could be Spectre 2. But either way, R.I.P. I almost said Freddie. R.I.P. Kanan.
Caleb Doom, Kanan Jarrus.
Yeah. Oh, there's Tristan looking annoyed as ever.
But he got rid of that Empire armor, so that's good.
Yeah. Their gold armor is just gorgeous.
Yeah.
I always wanted Sabine to have a little bit of that yellow mixed in. She has some yellow in her season 4 part 2 helmet, but it's not the same color as
she has it in the gauntlets. I feel like that's a little shout out. Yeah. The ones that the van bracers that
yes.
Round gave her.
That's right. That makes sense.
And here's our girl Hera.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Dave, that Emily Swallow would not comment on whether she fights Bo-Katan or who would win in a fight, which makes me think they may have fought. But more importantly, I want them to team up. Like,
yes, we want to team up.
Yes, they will rule everything, and I will just be there. But like, hey guys, here's Hera, here's our girl. There's Spectre 1. We're gonna start calling her that to mess with people. Name dropping Mon Mothma, my actual number 1 in all Star Wars.
Having trouble overthrowing the Empire without me. The banter between these two is adorable.
She's the best pilot in like the whole fleet. Which we're going to see some of that when we eventually get to the rest of season 4. There's some amazing piloting that Hera does. It's incredible.
Sorry, Chopper's just frustrated with it.
Always. Oh, Space Mom. Yeah, I'm glad that she's still in this episode. Actually, the whole voice cast makes it into this episode. Zeb is here too.
Yeah.
And again, like Zeb keeps getting left out sometimes, like because his story is not connected to Mandalore, and he's not a Jedi. So it's the kind of thing where he's like a supporting character in like other things, but like the Lasat story kind of already, that's its own stream.
Yeah.
So to set things up again, we are trying to rescue Sabine's dad. And so we're going to see a very Indiana Jones style chase coming up, which is just delicious.
So good.
Spencer, Corky, if Corky wins the Darksaber, first of all, someone should buy me lunch. I was going to say, like, I will buy everyone lunch, but like,
he's getting shawarma. Like, that's it. You're getting
there's
shawarma
no way.
after that.
Here's the thing. Even if he just appears on screen, I will lose my mind, or even just name dropped. Because he's not dead. Like there's no confirmation that he's dead other than
if
the fact
a helmet comes off and he's a light or dark blonde haired boy or guy, I'm gonna be like, oh, say it, and you're just gonna hear Mark shrieking from wherever you are.
Lose my mind. Yeah, the rightful heir pops in. Yeah, the true son of Satine Kryze and Obi-Wan Kenobi, or some such nonsense, right?
Right, David? Yes, exactly. I said that as soon as Caroline was announced.
I'm planting seeds and starting GoFundMe's. Don't you worry. So no, in all seriousness, I am trying to figure out if I can make it over to Celebration. It's not. We're gonna see. Probably if work doesn't send me, I'm not gonna go. Like it's probably like that simple because I actually truly need to work too. I have so much to do. You guys,
you have a lot of cool stuff. Yeah,
there's a lot to do. There's a ton to do. And so Spencer, Jason has met Michael Carter. We met him at Rhode Island Comic Con back in like 2016. Super nice guy. And we met Matthew Wood. So we've met the Bibs, which is great. I would like to meet him one more time. And in fact, like he'd be cool to add to like a big piece or do something like very Bib specific. We also met Eric Bowersfeld. I should mention that.
Oh yeah, I met him at Rhode Island that year.
Yeah,
he was a
amazing.
sweetheart. He like
so nice.
Picked his assistant out of her chair and like, you come sit next to me. And
he's the sweetest.
Such a sweetheart.
I think I've told the story on one of the other channels, but like I had dinner with him and Tim Rose, who had never met in real life before that, even though they had emailed. Obviously, they both played Admiral Akbar, Tim being the puppeteer and Eric doing the voice. Eric created that whole thing as a linguist by trade. He was a professor at a college.
He's so smart.
Super smart. And lived into his 90s. He actually like passed away sadly like less than 6 months after I had dinner with him that night.
Yeah,
so
after that Rhode Island, like, he was 93.
He was he was getting up there. But yeah, he was very nice. I got to spend time with him and Tim, Daniel Logan. Who else? There were a few people. Like it was just such a nice weekend. Matthew Wood. Like it was just a great, like fantastic time with everyone.
I love the
trip though. He's
oh my god!
Fun. If you have time to hang out with Daniel Logan, do it.
Mm-hmm.
I have the best stories of hanging out with Daniel and bars and the fun stuff.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this chase scene is like
Indiana Jones. Here we go.
Yes, pure indie, pure Star Wars, pure fun. It's super serious. We're trying to rescue Sabine's dad, which is like a big deal, but like. And also, I think this vehicle is based on like an action figure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, or not an action figure, the toy.
The transport, yeah.
Oh my God, go fund Mark. Oh my God. No one send me money. I can't. This is. But yes, I am sad that I won't get to meet Caroline, who I've never met in real life. Almost everyone else on that list, though, aside from like the newest of new people, I've actually met. Which is I was looking at the list again and I was like, oh, this is also like great people, by the way. There's not one person on there that I'd be like, don't go meet them. They're all really nice.
Chopper to the rescue, whack.
Always. That killed that guy, let's be clear.
Yeah, he's dead. You could just see the helmet pieces just go.
Yeah, that's not CTE. There's no skull left after that.
Yeah.
I will say Sabine is chopping like, machinery. Like I want to chop that guy's head off. Like, save the speeder. The speeder's more useful.
I love Kanan speeder surfing and just, jumping on Mandos in the sky and just
while blind. Like you
yeah,
forget
well
that he
blind.
can't really see, but he's got it. Like
He's using that force.
yeah. Don't bet against Kanan. Yes, Spencer, we should mention that our good friend Samantha Aileen, the first ever female
Sam.
stormtrooper, she will be at Star Wars Celebration doing free autographs, meaning that official picks, I guess, is bringing her and to meet the fans, which is fantastic. And there's a limited quantity every day, so you can go meet Sam. She's tremendous. I've met her numerous times in real life.
Yeah.
She's just the nicest. She loves Star Wars. And she's got stories. Like she's also fun. Like if you have time to like hang out, another one like Daniel, if you're able to hang out with her, just follow her around.
Yeah.
She's so fun, so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if we were able to get her to sign autographs at Tops at the time, because we weren't doing a lot of like background or extras or anything like that. Like that was like a thing. But it seems like that's opened up quite a bit because she was at Celebration 2019 or not 2019, 2022. Also at
that's where I met her. Yeah.
I got assigned I think the Sith Trooper, because there's one of her like at the gun turret or something.
Yeah, it's in the
like
ad
badass.
for official picks.
Yeah.
She looks so badass in that.
She's very
I
cool.
love getting back to the episode. I love the nervousness that Ezra feels around Sabine's parents. Like, I'm with Sabine, but no, I'm not with her, but I'm with her. Like he's just like really
thank you for
nervous
clarifying. Like any teenage boy, because he also has a little bit of a crush on her, but also understands that like, that's also, this is teenage times. Like it's gonna feel that way. And the way you feel about your friends versus the way you feel romantically about someone, it's all very confusing. And also they're at war. Like we don't have time for love, Dr. Jones. Like this ain't it.
But that line that he asks Ezra, "Are you a Jedi?" And he's like, "Let's hope so." He just like cuts his spine.
It's like just you saying it out loud.
Reassuring.
Yeah, he's getting there. Oh yeah, Sam did karaoke at Boomta.
Yeah, she was phenomenal.
She's a great singer. In fact, everyone who took the stage was really good. I'm tone deaf. I'm terrible at it. But I enjoy a good karaoke. But it is, we got to do that as a group at some point. Once we're all in the same zip code.
For real. I'm down.
This is really sweet getting to see Sabine actually see her dad.
She really wants her father's approval. I think they have more of a bond than her and her mother. To be honest with you.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. The dad actually has like empathy and compassion and which is why so it's actually just like Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like
I still need to see that movie. Like,
oh my god, what are you doing? Well, I know
I'm waiting for it to be on streaming. So yeah.
Hi. So among the celebration, after this little scene, we'll talk more celebration signers. Have some thoughts, Spencer.
Yeah.
Spencer asked a good question that I want to address in the news section. I guess we'll talk about it.
Yeah. I love how they're talking art.
Yeah, this is very
that
cool.
Bond that they have with each other. Like it just makes me happy. Oh, yay. Now I see where Sabine gets her creative side.
Yeah. And then the mom is like, kill everyone.
Oh, her artistry.
Yeah. She paints in the blood of her enemies.
I was like, ow. My dad fights with his art.
Yeah, you need philosophers and storytellers and artists and, people to move the culture.
So something I've noticed in the trailers for The Mandalorian, they changed Bo-Katan's wig. So it's a little more like the Rebels version of Bo-Katan. It's
her hair
longer,
is different. Yeah.
And it's more of a chin length bob. So yeah, the fact that they're kind of leaning toward that version of Bo-Katan and making it longer.
Which definitely cool. Weirdly enough, I think the Rebels version is her most heroic look. So if we're sort of signaling she's a secret villain, but then we're giving her the look that's most identified with her, like most heroic run, that's a little bit. What are they doing with her? Yeah. But it's also when she's gonna choose to rule Mandalore. So those things all align, and yet there's still cognitive dissonance there. Okay, this is the part of the episode. Yeah.
the Duchess.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Which when I heard that was the name of the weapon, I nearly hit the floor. It was one of those things where like, if you know, right? Like obviously named after Duchess Satine. And it's the weapon we find out that like Sabine helped design during her time at the Academy. So now there's going to be personal grief about what she did. This weapon is specifically targeted toward Mandalorian armor. There's just a lot of, look at this. I remember this like thinking this is really dark.
Oh
like
my
this
God.
is
Yeah,
this is
the burned out
horrendous.
armor.
Yeah.
It's like the scene in the catacombs in season 1 of The Mandalorian.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's hard.
The dust in the air.
Like the ash.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there's no wounded.
Mm.
And they leave us on this cliffhanger.
It's kind of scary and morbid, yeah. Damn.
That's the shot right there, right?
Yeah.
This is the guilt that like Sabine is keeping in her like as a teenager while trying to fight this, government. Like this is insanity. Oh, well now that we traumatized all of you,
we're gonna end on the trauma.
Let's snap back to reality. So luckily there's a part 2 and everyone lives happily ever after, except for those people who got incinerated right there.
No survivors, no wounded.
Yeah, exactly. We're not going to watch part 2 tonight. So it's sweet dreams, everyone. But look, we know this Sabine makes it out alive, and Bo-Katan and many others. And I do think this is actually really, really well done. And in fact, like I think they aired both parts together on the same night. So you lose
They did.
Like, I remember thinking like, oh boy, if I had to go a week not knowing if her mom and brother were dead, like, because they've killed people on this show. They've done it.
Yeah, but it was Disney XD, and it's kind of related to kids, so he just wanted to show them, hey, everybody's cool.
Everyone's good. Everyone's fine.
Yeah, so
pay no attention. We only kill people who don't have dialogue. So, yeah.
You're just like a stand-in, That's good.
Spencer mentioned Carl. So Carl Weathers was also introduced for Star Wars Celebration, which is very exciting. He's fantastic. Yay. He's obviously from The Mandalorian season 1 and 2 and 3. Love to meet
him. Yeah.
And he's actually, I think, pretty affordable. I thought his price was reasonable compared to some of the other prices on the list, like versus where they were. His increase was not as big as others, right? He did have a lot of fine print though. And I think this is something that I've told people whenever anything pops up signer wise, like read everything before you hit purchase, right? Sam is actually a good example of this. Yeah. She's doing free autographs, but they're available each day for a certain amount of number. Like she's going to sign however many she's going to sign. And that's all she can do. You can't pay her to do more. Like there's, like there are rules and regulations for this stuff. Carl has a big list of things that he will not sign at the booth. And it was basically anything 3D. He will sign all types of flats, which I believe was like photos, posters, but not like Funko boxes. Like he's not going to sign your Funko box or your Funko. He doesn't do 3D items. And what I don't want you to do is to buy a ticket and then bring your Funko of Grief Cargo to the booth and then be told that they're not going to let you sign it, because they won't refund you. Like there are no refunds at Celebration. There never are. There never have been.
You can exchange tickets, but you cannot get refunds.
Right. And so if you wanted to bring, like, for example, maybe a pair of Rocky boxer shorts for Carl Weathers to sign, and then you're going to flip it on eBay, that could be a problem. So, and I actually think that's a major problem in sports memorabilia. And he, because he's in a sports movie, has probably dealt with this for the last 40 years. So I think it's perfectly reasonable for someone to set guardrails around what they will and won't sign. And his rule is like, I will sign things that are Star Wars and are flats. And I agree, by the way, like you have no idea. Like I saw some, we'll say bulk purchasers coming to certain hard to get people at Celebration in 2017 who don't do cons all that often from things that were not Star Wars. And it was just like, you could tell that these were going straight to the eBay, little E, big B, like, right? Like straight out of that Futurama episode, sign, make it out to eBay.
Seriously.
You could tell. And you want to avoid that because it's really supposed to be for the fans. And this is supposed to be a celebration of Star Wars, not the opportunity for flippers to make a profit. Right.
And you definitely want to be, like, as Mark said, paying attention to the fine print, because when Ewan did Boston this year, I was like, oh, yay, he's like $50 cheaper than he was in Anaheim for Celebration. And I bought, it was before they put out the premium item one that was the cost of the Celebration autograph. And it's the 8x10s were $250, but anything bigger than an 8x10 was $299.
Mhm.
So it's that type of thing that you have to pay attention to. And I had to exchange the ticket because I wanted him to sign my Dr. Sleep poster. So if you're buying autographs, if you're buying photo ops, please read the fine print on those.
Yeah. And keep in mind that anyone at the table can decide that they will not sign something. I always use the example of The Boys. There's a character in season 3 who is the character's a Nazi. So the actress was very smart about setting some guard rules around like what she will and won't sign. Because obviously, like, you got to be careful with that character of like what's in that imagery.
Right.
Right. So that I feel like that's so heavy-handed and obvious, but like, I would be very uncomfortable about like playing that character and like, what would they bring you? Like, and imagine you're even like just like, I'm trying to think of like a superhero who's like randomly shirtless or something. Like, do you want to be signing like shirtless photos of yourself? Like, or
I don't know. Let's
else?
ask Stephen Amell.
Right. Well, he does. Yeah.
Yeah. Like all the stuff I saw at his table, it was like a handful of like shirtless Oliver Queen shirts. And I'm like,
of course. Well, him doing the, what's the thing on Ninja Warrior they do where they do the pull-up bar, the salmon ladder, right?
Yeah.
Like that's like an iconic scene from like that first episode, or I guess it's throughout the series, but he's shirtless in that. And that was something that like you could find, they're all over eBay, don't worry. Plenty of shirtless pictures of Stephen Amell doing the salmon ladder. But yeah, like you can imagine like people don't want to be exploited like that necessarily if they feel that's exploitation, so they might not sign that. So I always tell people like think about
yes, Anthony not signing that error card.
Yes, like, we all know the one. People not signing anything that's not officially licensed merchandise, right? Or signing something that's not Star Wars. There's any number of reasons, and they will tell you can trade for something else, or you can get swapped to another ticket. So be prepared that don't bring anything controversial or offensive to the table. I think that should go without saying, but you never know. People really do think that like once you pay the money, that you can kind of get what you want, do what you want. Ultimately, like I'm not going to sign my name on something that says something insane or has a picture that's, terrible. Or like, I'm sure the women deal with this all the time. Like that Katie Sackhoff has been in roles where she's been like the sexy young woman. Like, are you going to bring her a picture of her in a bikini from like a movie she did 20 years ago to sign? Like maybe you would, but is she going to feel uncomfortable about that? Maybe. Like that's the kind of thing where she'd be like, I'm only signing Star Wars stuff, or I'm only signing as Bo-Katan. Like same thing for the men. The men are equally objectified in Hollywood now. So you can imagine that like maybe Chris Evans doesn't want to sign something from not another teen movie.
Yeah, that whole like whipped cream bikini thing. Yeah,
of course. So, I get it. That's the kind of thing where I always tell people have backups. And I think this is actually a great topic.
Oh, have a good night, Bryce.
Oh, night, Bryce. Celebrating autographs could do an episode about this of like being prepared for autographs. Bring your own thing if you know specifically what you want. Obviously, I think Official Picks right now has some photo options that they're showing of what's available.
Yeah.
Have a backup. Also know kind of what you want them to sign with, like pens and markers, where you want them to sign. Like do that preparation ahead of time. It'll actually relieve some of your anxiety. And have a plan B if you think anything is weird. I think
definitely.
That's the easiest thing. But most people they'll be fine. Like unless you're bringing something really outrageous, like this shouldn't be an issue.
Definitely not. Rules and regulations are in place for everybody's benefit. So do your homework. Definitely do your homework.
Don't ask for like crude comments on a photo.
Yeah.
Like some maybe
unless it's a Kevin Smith movie, right, Spencer?
Yeah. Right. Like I was mentioned my Amy Sedaris autograph that I can't talk about on air and what she signed. But like I would never ask for that.
No.
And in fact, she's in Star Wars, which is why this is relevant. I wouldn't bring something from Strangers with Candy. If I did, maybe she would autograph it, but she's not going to put something offensive or crude on there, even though that's how her character is, because this is a Disney show.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, we're in that space. Like there's a time and a place.
Know your place. Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely.
You have to understand like the environment that you're in. Yeah. So that's my little rant on Celebration. What do you think, Ashley? Did I capture all of it?
Oh, I think you did. I think you did a phenomenal job.
All right, how about you take us into Bad Batch then?
Okay, so this week was a tough week. We're dealing with the fallout of Echo leaving the group. We are also once again doing a mine operation for Sid. So the guys are once again helping Sid out, and they end up on this remote planet. And
she may have been bamboozled too. Like that mine that she bought was,
there's not a lot in there. And they end up getting trapped in there, and the Marauder is stolen.
That was nuts.
That was nuts. Did you? Okay, so seeing the dreadlocks and the goggles on that little scavenger person, did you think of a certain pirate?
Yeah, I mean, it was like, that looks like Hondo.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I was like, also the character model is like, between Rebels and Clone Wars, we just talked about with Katie. There's an evolution. Bad Batch is closer to Clone Wars, and of course Clone Wars season 7, which we didn't see Hondo in, but
no.
It could be, here's the thing, it could be anyone. It could be literally anyone in the galaxy. But if they're going to make it someone we know, why not make it Hondo? Like, and I love Hondo. Look, put Hondo in everything. He's garlic.
Yeah.
Put him on everything. It tastes better. So I'm all in.
He's cheese. We'll just put cheese on everything. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I hope it's him.
Yeah.
We'll find out. Yeah.
So we see. Yeah. Oh no, it is. You're right. A couple of days. Why am I thinking today's Tuesday? Probably because I took a nap this afternoon and my days are just like all shifted. But we also had Omega and Tech having a problem. So I like how they depict Tech. Maybe he's on the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
He's so not like in his feelings about things. So she accuses him of being cold and not caring that, Echo left the group.
Almost sociopathic, right?
Yeah.
Like
and just being kind of cruel to her.
Yeah.
And so she finds all this material in like another part of the cave, and he helps her mine it. And they end up going on an adventure and just having a heart-to-heart talk. And I think they understand each other better now.
No, without a doubt.
Yeah. It's just going to show that you may react like that, but you don't have that same intent. And like, not everybody can wear their feelings on their sleeves. Like there has to be like a deeper level of understanding, and you have to have that conversation. So I think they're both really growing in that regard. And Omega, like mining that stuff, like you screw up, you miss with that drill and you blow everybody up, and she's so precise with it. And I was just like, oh, I'm so proud of my little girl. She's great.
And he said that he trusts her, that he knew that she was fully capable. So I think his demeanor was the issue, right? So she was interpreting his demeanor and his sort of logical, cold approach to everything as him being unfeeling about, like, especially Echo leaving.
Definitely.
And in fact, like, he's like, no, I just have to accept the fact that that happened and move on to the next thing, because we have to live and survive, and we'll probably see him again. And I was like, oh, that is really logical. And then it sort of came to the discourse on Twitter was that on the spectrum or autistic or something was the representation, which I don't know myself, but like people seem to think this was very well handled. We would know immediately if it wasn't, right?
Being Star Wars and all, yeah, it was really good.
I thought it was well done. I don't have an in on that, so I'm not sure to, like, I usually don't comment if I think something is good or not if I don't really have like proper knowledge of it. But from what I could see overall, like the fandom was very supportive of this episode and the way this was handled, and the way in which it was explained. Because like, imagine trying to tell a little kid like, oh, I don't express my emotion the same way, but I understand where you're coming from. And I think there's one little act that like really brings it to light when she falls and he just jumps in, doesn't even think, because Tech is the thinker, and he plots out like all the possible scenarios. He just jumps in after her. She could fall to her death on a bunch of spikes, and he would just be jumping in after her, right? And he was like, I have to get her. Like it was that simple. And so that act of kindness and love was, way more important than any verbal way in which he could have expressed himself, right? Exactly.
And this is, I think, probably episode, and they've been through so much together. I think this is the episode where it's actually spoken out loud that, she considers them a family. Like those are her brothers.
When they stole her house, it's not just the ship, it's where they live. I was like, it's the ghost, which is what I screamed about all the time. So I was like, oh my God. Yeah, so I get
Yeah,
it.
I love
mean,
how
she really
you're
does.
not like it's the Millennium Falcon, it's the ghost.
It's
Like,
the
yeah.
ghost. Yeah, I know. It's exactly. I was like, it's not the Millennium Falcon.
Forgot
I know.
that.
My view of Star Wars is so skewed. I was having this conversation with someone recently, and I was like, there's way more content from animation than there is from live action. We've got 7
Mhm.
seasons of Clone Wars, 4 seasons of Rebels, 2 seasons of Resistance. We're into season 2 of Bad Batch. Like we've got
Yeah.
all these little
Tales of
things
the
like
Jedi.
Tales of the
Yeah.
Jedi, right, and all the anime stuff. Even when you add up all the
Forces of
movies and all
Destiny.
the
Yeah.
live action shows, like animation still has more content. And it's just the stuff I like better. So
Yeah, I definitely think that the maker George Lucas made the right call with pulling Dave Filoni from Avatar to run, Lucasfilm
to
Animation.
build animation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and original Clone Wars too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that they're canon anymore. And we had the Ewoks cartoons. There's so much. Anyway,
Yeah.
animation wins. that's the thesis.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
episode, right? Like not just a one-off, not just a side quest, because it's actually part of a two-parter, it seems. Like their
Yeah.
episode resolves these sort of emotional conflict between Omega and Tech, but they're still trapped on this planet without their ship, and they call Sid, and Sid like sort of begrudgingly is going to try to figure out a way to get to them
give
in,
me
like,
a
week
few
or
days,
something.
I'll figure something out. And I'm
So
like,
she's useless
what?
and worthless, and
Yeah.
I think like ultimately again is going to need their help, and then we'll eventually come around, because we don't let people just become bad. We have to give them an arc and a redemption. It's a kid show, which is fine. It's just right now she is not to be trusted.
Definitely not. And so when they ended up in that abandoned town, there was nobody there. They couldn't get food. They couldn't get supplies. They could barely call for a ride.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess we'll see where it goes, and if they
curious.
get the Marauder back.
And I wonder if they have to chase down the ship for the rest of the season. It's another ship missing now, because Mando's ship was blown up at the end of season 2. So it's the kind of thing where it's like, what are we doing? We're building these ships. We're making these models. I'm sure Lego wants to put one into the marketplace. What are we doing here, people? Let's get the ship back, please.
Definitely. So
good night, Sarah. We'll see you
next
next
night.
week.
Yeah. So it was going to be interesting to see where it goes next. And when Tech mentioned Crosshair, as Sarah mentioned, like I was like, okay.
Crosshair. He's a true believer, which I hope we get more of in the coming weeks. That's an interesting thread. And I was thinking more and more about what Plan 99 is going to be, and I still keep coming back to like the worst case scenario of like large scale extinction of the clones. Because think about it, there must be millions of them.
Yeah. I think of Clone 99 and how he sacrificed himself to save all of them. And it was his way of being a soldier. And it just like, when they announced that title, I was just like, oh no, who's going to sacrifice himself? Like, I was just really nervous. So
no, I think it literally is another, it's going to be like Order 99, which like Order 66 was the clones killed the Jedi. Order 99 is like the stormtroopers kill the clones or something. Like I'm really in that camp where it's headed toward the Emperor, like genociding the clones, because there aren't that many left when we get to Rebels. There's hardly anyone, and I know that aging will make them old, but they're not so old they would just die of old age, like because Rex and Gregor are like quite capable. Rex is running around all the time. He's put on a couple pounds, but he's running around everywhere like
the Jedi.
Yeah,
holding it down.
He's holding his own with Kanan. That's right. So good soldiers follow orders. Oh, boy. Yeah, it's gonna be like, it's gonna haunt my dreams, that and On Program. And I can't swim. Like we've had a couple of emotional gut punches this year.
So I saw a photo on the internet. Somebody gave Andy Serkis like a swim ring for a photo op at a con.
That's amazing.
Got a photo with him, and he's like holding the swim ring, and it was so cool.
Incredible. Yeah, get him some floaties. Oh boy.
So can you imagine if this happens at Celebration, the amount of Lloyd photo ops are going to look like that?
Oh, it's going to be a thing. I will say, we talked about this. Most of those people probably drowned. There's no way you survive the impact of that fall, or you swim all the way to shore. Like I can technically, I can
not
swim,
get shot by those ships or captured.
There's any number of things. But even if you just have to swim from where you are to where you're going, I'm not making it. Like I'm not strong enough. Like there's no way I could swim in the ocean and not drown. I can swim in a pool. Like, but this is Olympic level. Like the fact that Andor and Melshi made it is kind of a miracle. And we don't know how many others made it, but I think it's a high body count, sadly. But it's better than dying in that prison. And I think that was sort of the point of the episode, right? Like,
Yeah.
jump to your, oh God, it reminds me of Wakanda Forever. And
Yeah,
Michael
we'd
B.
rather
Jordan.
die a free man than be in a prison. So
Yeah, that's rough. That's some real life connectivity there. All right, great. We're staying real bleak tonight, guys.
This is what happens when you have Mondays off, and it just
Rebels is a little bit bleak sometimes.
Yeah,
And Star Wars in general. And speaking of, let's hit The Last of Us real quick. I know we're over time, but like we're now the official VCN after party for The Last of Us over here. Ashley and I are the hardcore mega fans of the show, and I hope everyone else in the chat appreciates these little 2-minute breakdowns.
Yeah, so we finally get Ellie and Joel to where they need to be in a little reunion, as you could see in the trailer. Tommy and Rutina Wesley from True Blood, who I absolutely love
her
as Tara, returns as oh my God, Maria, and she's phenomenal. She's got such warmth, and she's so smart.
District Attorney Maria.
Assistant District Attorney
and hairstylist extraordinaire.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God.
I love her.
So you get to see Joel and Ellie become closer, and she learns from Maria about Sarah, Joel's daughter, and she didn't know, and it's kind of what's been keeping Ellie at arm's length in Joel's life. It's a wall between them, and so it's interesting to see where that gets broken down and episodes to come. But it ends on a cliffhanger, so
sure does.
Not gonna go into that right now, but those who have played the game and those who have seen the show, they know.
Supposedly this is a combination of like the first game where you would meet Tommy at the dam, but instead of doing that, they just go straight to Jackson, which is actually a thing in the second game. Okay, good night, Sherry.
Good night, Sherry.
No, we will not spoil any. Actually, we will not spoil anything for you if you want to stay.
We're not gonna delve that deep, but
but I will say, like, this was another great character building episode. Where good night. I know you don't want to risk it.
We won't ruin it for you, we promise.
I will say I think Rutina Wesley was just tremendous in this role, and I hope she comes back. And I like the town of Jackson. I found it like just really like hopeful. And it's the first time I've actually felt hopeful in the whole show. Like every time they go somewhere, it's just worse than the last. Like it just kept getting worse. And then this time it was like, oh wow, like there could be a future, and I love that it's socialism. I was all into it.
It was funny. I messaged my friend who lives in Kansas City. I'm like, are you guys okay after that last episode?
And
he goes like, he didn't know what I was talking about. He's like, what? Yeah, we're fine. Why? And I'm like,
Meanwhile, my favorite part of the discourse from the prior episode after Kansas City was the hot bloater. So the stunt guy who plays the bloater is like an insanely good-looking, muscular dude.
And he like serious?
Blew up on the internet because he had like a shirtless photo of him doing kickboxing or some shit, right?
Oh my God, how have I not seen this?
Everyone wants the bloater. So Mushroom Daddy is his new name. And so he I follow him on Instagram now. I'll send you his, I forget what it is, but no, he was wearing like an 80-pound suit to be the bloater.
Oh my God. Yeah, you can see all like the barnacles and stuff on his stomach. I was like, oh, like Barry,
like 6'5", 250. But like imagine wearing 80 pounds, like a third of your body weight. Like that would crush me. Like there's no way. So
I took honors classes in high school, so I know all about carrying around 80 pounds of books on your body.
The books. No. He was having quite the week. As was everyone who was finding his Instagram and Twitter. I'm sure he's wondering how all these people. I think EW must have put up a picture or something. And of course Kathleen, my hero. I worship
Melanie.
her. Melanie. We were just realizing she's in Sweet Home Alabama. She's the woman who said the one where there's the baby at the bar. I couldn't believe it. When Jason told me that, I was like,
I just watched it the other day. It was on Valentine's Day, and I hadn't seen it in years. And then I'm like, oh, Melanie Linsky's in this too.
She's so good. Yeah.
You
have a baby in a bar.
Yeah.
On Valentine's Day, so this is me and my husband, we watched Valentine, that old-timey horror that horror movie from the early aughts or whatever with David Boreanaz. God, is it terrible. Oh my God. And it is just the worst. And I don't even know how to describe how bad, it's supposed to be sort of like I guess the new wave of feminism at the time was like all of the women being sex positive, but that wasn't a word yet. But like they all just come across as like desperate and slutty and terrible. And Denise Richards is in like the one spot, right? So she's like top billed over David, right? And I was like, oh God, like this is just not great. And we just watched her in the Alien movie. Oh my God, why am I blanking? The propaganda alien movie. I completely lost my train of thought here. And it was like a one hit or miss after another. Yeah. No, I highly recommend everyone watching Valentine though, because it was so weird.
If you like weird, do that.
Yeah, it was not a great murder mystery, but definitely worth watching just because it's so insane. David Boreanaz is I don't even know how to describe I don't know what movie he thinks he's in, but he's not in the same movie as everyone else because he's playing it very serious and everyone else is in like an SNL skit. Like it's embarrassing. Starship Troopers.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I don't know why I like fully blanked on that because we watched that one and we watched a kill count on like Marauder, like because I was like, I'm not actually watching that thing, and oh boy, those does not hold up.
Yeah, that's bad.
Well, at least we do have good programming on now, though. Last of Us is great. Bad Batch is really delivering, and we got a new episode in just 2 days.
I'm so glad he's still watching that.
I'm hoping that everyone else who's tuning in with us, like, will take our word for it that like Bad Batch is good this season, guys. If you didn't give season 1 a chance, like you could just watch a wraparound video for season 1 and jump into season 2. Like you
stick with it,
because I didn't remember most of what happened in season 1. I just remember not liking it, and then season 2 started. I was like, oh, this is good. Ant-Man was great. I think everyone would really enjoy it. Pay no attention to the Rotten Tomato scores. It is weird to see such a gap between the critics and the audience. Like that happens sometimes on these big superhero movies, but it's rare for Marvel. The Marvel ones are usually closer in, unless there's a review bomb situation like She-Hulk or Captain Marvel, where the critic scores are great, and then the audience scores are just flooded with ones from like douchebag guys who hate women. So
I made sure to join Rotten Tomatoes and give my review of Ant-Man and the Wasp. So hopefully that helps in some way. But it's going
to make plenty of money
it's
without us.
Comic book movie. It's already at $150 million for the weekend.
Yeah, so it's going to do fine. And I enjoyed it. I'm ready for Guardians. And if you're,
I'm not ready to cry though. Like it looks. They played that trailer again. Since you've been gone, and I'm like, you just see Star-Lord with that tube, and he's crying, and he looks like he's trying to save something, and I'm like, oh no, what's happening?
I was feeling all the feelings because it was also Gallifrey 1 weekend, Galley 1 out in the West Coast, like which is the big Doctor Who convention. And Jodie was there, which is her first, no longer being the Doctor, and sort of her farewell and send off. And I'm just watching stuff on Twitter. I wasn't even on YouTube. I'm just looking at tweets like in near tears. I was like, oh God. So it was a lot. It was an emotional weekend, guys. All right, with that, we have quite the week of programming for you. Do you want to take it over, Ashley, with everything that's coming this week? I put it all in the Google Doc.
Yes,
there's a lot.
There's a lot in this Google Doc. Okay, so yesterday was Jedi Archives, so make sure you turn in and watch that. It was really cool. They started to delve into the comics a little more in the High Republic, so that's awesome. Tomorrow, Tuesday, is our happy hour and Bad Batch watch along. So make sure you jump on Zoom and join the guys and just have fun. The discussion gets crazy in there. So
you can chase the Ipsium, which was the MacGuffin of the episode.
Oh my goodness,
it's a fun one.
And answer questions. What would you do if you had to mine Ipsium and were scared to death to drop it?
I would have blown up the mine like 10 seconds in. I'm a clumsy bitch.
Seriously,
like
I would have been all Wrecker about it. Like I'm small, but Wrecker is in my nature. Like shit will be
Wrecker's my spirit animal. I want to be that strong.
Did anybody else get like crazy Lion King stampede vibes from that whole thing where they're just like clinging to the tree? And I was like, Simba, no.
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like.
The Lion King is my favorite movie ever, and it's just like that whole like little space. Oh, anyway.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So Wednesday. We have a big guest on the Sithcast YouTube show with PJ Espiritu. Mark will be on there.
So I'm making a visit off of the network. So PJ is actually a member of this group. He's in the Facebook group, and I met him at Celebration this year, or San Diego, one of them. So we were texting. He's doing a show, and we're going to talk to Nuo Novo actually. So a lot of product, and we announced our Death Trooper last week, so we're going to talk about that new helmet.
That looks really cool.
I'm very excited about that one. And then, we're a week out from The Mandalorian season 3. So you'd have to assume that as a licensee and a fan of Mando, like something's going to be happening on Wednesday the 1st to coincide. So I might tease something on that, like Wednesday on that show.
Yeah.
So you just have to keep following me all week, basically, to get the goods. So yeah, that's me on Wednesday.
Yeah. And this past weekend, I was on my friend's podcast talking about favorite albums, and we got into Wasting Light by the Foo Fighters.
Oh,
so it was really cool. It was about an hour and a half discussion, and we threw in a little Star Wars in there because,
nice.
Why would you not throw in Star Wars and how much it means to you? So it's Album Cockpit Podcast.
You got to put that in the chat. So
yes, I definitely will.
I completely forgot that you were doing that.
Yeah, and it was just kind of like a spur of the moment kind of thing, and it was a lot of fun, and just to get to delve deep into the songs and what it means to you. So
nice.
And get to talk about art and going to cons and things like that. So it's fun.
That's fantastic. Everyone check out Ashley. Go, especially like Star Wars is one of our nerdy things. I think all of us have Star Wars like close to our one spot, but then there's all these other things that we're nerdy and geeky about. Like obviously Ashley is like a true artist. I am a licensee, so I make product, not quite the same thing, but like, we got passions outside, and I'm sure you guys do as well. I keep joking,
but it always comes back to Star Wars.
It does, doesn't it?
It always comes back.
It pulls you in like a tractor beam. There's no escape.
Yes, definitely not. So Thursday we get the watch along with the guys, Book of Boba Fett gallery episode. So if you love behind the scenes, if you love learning about filmmaking and costumes and concept art and just how they made this series and getting Tamura back into it with our girl Migna, definitely check this out and enjoying the discussion with the guys. It's always fun. Saturday we get the return of the Intergalactic News Desk with our beloved Mark and
Gary should be there.
Gary should be there. Yeah.
So we haven't announced like the exact lineup for Saturday yet, but obviously we'll be talking about the celebration reveals, and we'll talk more any other news that's coming up. And we've already done coverage on Cantina 2, which we did last week. So we'll talk more about other celebration related topics, most importantly, and we'll see if any other major news breaks this week. I think the announcements today feel like the announcements for the week for celebration. We are nearing the end. I think they only said a couple more left. I wouldn't be surprised if we were kind of at the end, like at this point.
Right.
Like they've announced 35 guests or whatever it is. It's a pretty comprehensive list. It's great.
Yeah. I have a feeling that it'll be at least one or two more big ones, but
possibly,
if it's not,
I think
we still have a hell of a guest list. So.
We have headliners. I mean, there's no two ways about it. You have Ewan and Rosario and Hayden, like they're headliners in this list. So, and lots of other great people as well. I don't want to downplay the fact that we have really good representation from animation, from Mandalorian, from the prequels, as many OT people as we could get. The 40th for Return of the Jedi is stellar. Especially when you count in like Anthony and Billy, who were part of, they're also Return of the Jedi. They were cast sort of separately, not part of like the big ROTJ block that they released, but like they're
part of it. Yeah,
exactly. If you buy a poster, you could go get like 20 autographs right now, like get on a plane to Europe. So
easily. Dennis Lawson.
Oh, that's right, Dennis.
Yep. Can't miss Wedge. So also we have Sunday, a new episode of the Unifying Force.
Yep. So we got a comprehensive slate for you guys this week.
Yeah, it's always fun to see what we're going to come up with on the VCN and see where it's going to go. So
yep. And then of course don't forget to meet up with us next Monday night on the 27th. We'll be doing Heroes of Mandalore Part 2, as well as a little bit of our Mandalorian predictions episode. We will then the following week do our Mando Season 3 Episode 1 recap and our season-wide major predictions. So we're going to do minor predictions and then major predictions after the premiere, and also just recap, because we're not going to want to talk about anything else other than the Mandalorian. Let's be clear.
Way.
So I think we're smart to like that first week. That's going to be the only discourse that matters, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's going to be on our minds. We're going to want to know what's going to happen next, and we're not going to like burden down and make you guys, I shouldn't say burden, but we're not going to like have you guys distracted by another episode of Rebels when you know you're going to want to talk about this.
We're going to talk Mando because who knows? Like, I mean, Bo-Katan's going to be all over it, and she's a big part of Rebels. So I'm curious to see where that's going, and who knows what could happen in the premiere. Like, if Sabine Wren shows up, I'll lose my mind. Or any other Rebels connected character. So yeah, it's gonna be one for the ages. I'm actually thinking about like. At first I was like, well, I can't really physically stay up that late. Like doesn't work on the East Coast, but I could certainly get up very, very, very early and watch the episode before going into work. I did that with all of WandaVision. I may do that for Mando, at least episode 1. Like, I think that might be the plan. So we'll see.
If I have to work early, I will not be getting up at 3 a.m. to watch. However, I will probably be watching on my lunch break with the earphones in and at least get half or if not most of the episode taken care of. So yeah, I'm excited. I can't believe it's so close, you guys. Like, seriously, a little more than a week.
Yeah, look, we've been doing this March to the Mandalorian season 3 across the VCN for the past couple months now. So if anyone is, we're not just watching this episode out of nowhere. This was part of a structured campaign. On Thursday nights, the boys were doing that as well. So they have all these fantastic watch-alongs of Mandalorian, mostly season 2 and Book of Boba Fett, the interconnecting episodes where Mando returns with some amazing guests. They had on the stunt guys from Boba Fett last week who were terrific. They had great stories. I was really captivated by them. And the week before that, we had Emily Swallow and Tate Fletcher. The Thursday night watch along, if you've not been able to keep up with it and you just somehow missed, go back and watch these recent episodes in the March to Mando countdown. You won't be disappointed.
Definitely.
And then, of course, like their Thursday nights will then be Mando season 3, where you'll get a watch along and discussion like Thursday nights. So only a day after it premieres. We'll be doing our little recap the following Monday for just the first episode, and then we'll be back on track for all things Rebels.
You never know who might show up in one of those episode watch alongs of the new season too.
Yeah, that's
not just on reruns, but on fresh shows. Sometimes we'll see.
That would be fantastic. You guys do a good job pulling in some guests. And by the way, that is one of our goals for 2023.
Definitely.
Trying to get some guests on the show, both from the voice cast or from other people in the fandom who have expertise in the Rebel space.
Yeah.
We're exploring all those avenues because we want to keep it fresh and interesting. And we also want to hear from you guys. So if there's anything you're interested in us covering or doing a special episode of, if you have an idea for something, send it our way.
Yeah,
especially
definitely.
as we're gonna have to plan out when the Ahsoka countdown happens. But if that show's not coming to the fall, we gotta build out new content for the
exactly.
The summer.
We gotta stay afloat.
Situation. Yeah, exactly.
Make you guys have an appointment viewing for us as well.
Yep. So I think that's everything for this week.
That looks
we're way over time. This is what happens. We get into a groove and all of a sudden, like, it's midnight.
I'm telling you. And we started early too.
We started early too. You're right. Oh my God. We jumped in early. So we would be ready. Well, thank you everyone for staying with us till almost 10:30. We really appreciate it.
So have a fantastic rest of your evening and a fantastic week. Don't forget to watch Bad Batch on Wednesday. And may the Force be with you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.